So, welcome, lovely souls. This is the Voice podcast, the voice of integrity, compassion, and empathy. And I want to explore this episode what we're navigating right now and the energies that are ever present, and how we do that with a little bit more ease and grace. And so, I want to talk about the autumn and consolidation of one's power and one's energy. And the autumn equinox, if you look at it coming into winter, what nature's doing, because we are nature, so we need to start to remember to be in alignment and to be flow and to be in health, we need to remember our connection and flow with nature. So observing Mother Earth and seeing what she is doing is really, really important for both men and women, but especially for women, because women are actually the body clocks of Earth. They are the gatekeepers of life. And when we would have had 13 months, moons, which would have been linked to 28-day cycle, the months, the moons, and menstruation, women would have been in body clock. We would have been in sync. And so women were seen as this sacred wisdom, well of wisdom. And this would have been through our bodies, the wisdom, this conscious wisdom that's deep within us, that's interaction and the interface with Mother Earth. So through remembering that and honoring that and connecting to that, when we see what's happening with the autumn coming into winter, it's about the power of letting go. And that comes in many forms. You start to see the leaf releasing, but the leaf isn't let go until it's taken all the nutrients from it. The tree takes it back in through to the branch, and eventually will go back down into the roots. And then the leaf is released. So this is all forms of power of letting go. Grief, actually the physical releasing if someone's passed, grief of relationship. There's much that we enable ourselves. The power of being able to let go is actually enabling us to grow. And so with that leaf that falls back into the soil, all its nutrients then go back into the root. So it's never actually fully separated. It's always connected from an energetic perspective. And what that leaf provided was that extra energy for the enable the tree to grow. So grief cycle is growth, abundance, health. So this power of letting go. And it's also about letting go of patterns, old belief systems, old ways of being. And so I will share from how I'm experiencing it, because in that way I can express it that is true and authentic for me. And rather than telling someone to do something if I haven't actually done it myself. So this is all about truth and authenticity. It's actually navigating how a woman shifts into her wise stage, her wise energy, her wise woman. And we have the maiden, the mother, and the wise one. And not many women know how to move into that wise woman stage, because society and the patriarchal systems have shut that down. It would have been called the crone. And, we think of crone, you think of old bint, old misery, toxic, witches, think of all the fairy tales there. It's never been portrayed as a powerful, beautiful stage for a woman to go into. So a lot of women see maiden and mother is actually their only role, whereas there's a wholly, hugely powerful stage, which is the wisdom stage. And to get into that stage, which I see perimenopause and menopause is what actually helps us move into that. It's trying to show us all the layers that are blocking us into our wise woman stage. One of those is the Cinderella story. Okay. Not so much the wicked sisters. It's just think about how women treat another women. That's another level. which is something to be addressed, and I may get to it in this one, we shall see. But the key is the doing, the busy, the just pouring and exhausting themselves out in terms of giving and housework, everything, providing. And that becomes exhausting when we hit our midlife. And because we're not meant to do it, let's face it, that's ultimately not what we're meant to do. And I shared this recently in a group that actually us women, as we move and transition through motherhood, as our children get older, they don't need us to be doing such physical stuff for them. It's actually, as a mother, it's about guiding them to do it for themselves and not to mother them. Okay. And actually, rather than being the physical provider, you start becoming more the emotional support and provider. But you cannot do that if you're exhausted, if you've expelled all your energy into doing, and then you cannot be present emotionally and hold space in a non-reactive, in a very grounded, conscious, wise way to be able to receive, to be able to give advice, to be able to share, to be able to respond in a conscious way rather than an exhausted, knackered, shut down way. Okay, so this is what we're here to do. And as the mum of two sons, I do see now my role is more about actually not just give my love language of just doing stuff for them. They don't need that, and it's not right for them. It's about being there emotionally for them to help them grow into emotionally intelligent, deeply connected to their feminine into this world, not to just to be a boy that has grown as a man just through body. It's about the wisdom that that young lad can move into and be a male that has this completion of both masculine and the feminine. So I see that role, and it really flared up for me at the weekend when I'd done too much and I just went boof, and I wasn't available for my children to hear them, what they were trying to say. All I took it as was as a, I'm not enough. I haven't done enough because you're not seeing or appreciating what I have done for you. And so because I'd done too much, because I was exhausted myself, I wasn't emotionally available for them. So for them to hear, to know that they've been heard and valued and listened. So this is what we need to be doing. And it really woke me up in a weird blessing golden way, is that actually this is huge. This is what I need to shift to, and to help them become independent souls and emotionally intelligent and connected. This is what the next level of motherhood is, as she shifts into the wise one. And so I wanted to share that because I can appreciate there'll be many of us there doing that, and there'll be men doing that, fathers doing that too. But I recognize it's really from a physical perspective for women, and the grace that they have and the emotional intelligence that they have to connect into that feminine energy. And this is the gift that we need to give our children, and especially for our daughters and our sons. So what that has then also had something else is about, how do I consolidate my energy? So we talk about the gift of letting go. And as nature returns to herself, she goes back inwards. So we'll all start to gradually start feeling with the shortened days, and to want to be less outside, more inwards, but it's doing this from a withdrawal, a collecting back. Isn't a withdrawal because of fear or retreating or closing oneself down. It's more about a consolidation. And if you can feel the difference in that, the withdrawal is shutting in and shriveling up, or you're consolidating. You are calling and taking responsibility of all your mental energy, all your thoughts, all your actions, and bringing that back into a healthy boundary. So you've got this space of wholeness. You can imagine a sphere of light. You are literally consolidating your energy. So whenever we have thoughts or we're looking at social media and we're scrolling and telly, our mind is like feeding tubular light all over the place because we're losing our energy. So this is all about calling that back. If there is grief and loss, we need to cut that and return it back to love. We need to enable our wholeness and come back to our body. So this is what the earth does. It brings all the energy right back to the root. We need to be doing that back to ourselves and looking at emotionally, mentally, energetically, and physically. And when we do that, we hold a space of presence. We are holding into ourselves and our body, which holds what I can only say is much more grace to it. And this is the energy of the feminine. She has fire and she has grace. And she's the embodiment of the both. And this is more about bringing that fire, that light, that energy into a state of grace. And to be discerning as to where you put the energy. Where do you put that? When do you need to rest? When do you need to bring stillness in? Is something activating and taking your mental energy away? Can you call that back? If there's a relationship or something that's triggering, how do you process that and release that so you can cut those cords and come back to self? So it's really about asking all these layers of questions no matter where you are. Like I say, it could be on a physical level and all the way up to an energetic level. And when you're on the energy level, you can then go more into the actual, okay, as a soul, how do I start bringing back all my energy? All those parts of self that have been separated or disbanded in different paradigms, in different lifetimes, where parts of self have been left behind, whether it's shock, whether it's trauma, where we've acted in fear, where we've acted in judgment and shame. This is all about bringing that purity back. And this is what I recorded back in 23 in December, the 12th and 21st. It's about the return to innocence, soul repatriation. And we are calling back those parts of self. We are calling back those gifts of self. It's about taking responsibility of all our thoughts and actions in any lifetime, any moment, and through the light of forgiveness. So we take responsibility without the judgment, and we literally clear, cleanse, release. So forgiveness is like a really powerful energy. It sounds like you're being a bit weak because that's what it's portrayed as, that you're just letting something happen. Forgiveness, when you choose forgiveness, it's very powerful and empowering because you're choosing your own peace. You're choosing yourself. It's kind of the acceptance of the unacceptable, not to be accepted again. There's huge of shifts that happen through the light of forgiveness and embodying that. And I've seen that through working with my own trauma. And we often think that when we forgive, we can allow it to happen again. It isn't. It's literally going, what have I learned from this? How can I grow from this? Where's the inner gold from this? And it's a lesson and a learning, like you take on a virus and then you've got the B cells and T cells going, right, if anything happens again, I know what to do with this. There's a wisdom, there's a gold, there's an upgrade. It's huge. It shifts like that from an emotional perspective. When we can bring in forgiveness, it becomes like a gold to us. It's like, there was huge insight and wisdom of self and strength, and it's like you're stepping up each time. We talk about ascension in the spiritual world. I see this as ascension, not losing your body, but it's being deeper in your body and connecting to the deep dark depths and shadows that are in our system, that are in our DNA, that are in our blood, that are in our bones, that are the illusion of separation of our divinity, of our power. And so we are going through those layers to finally remember who we truly are. So what started off from the physical part of what's happening through the autumn coming into winter, this consolidation It's an all spectrum. It's a whole thing. It's like we are calling in the very present now. Anything that has been, we close, is not of love, joy, or peace, or the highest greatest good. We close. We are closing down all these paradigms, and which I have seen that's what the 12th and 21st of the 12th was. It was like, it's this Doctor Strange thing. It's like there's so many multiple potentials and paradigms that come from fear, and it's about closing down those mirrors, those smoke and mirrors, and all the distraction, the distortion, and coming right back to the very present moment. And that was shown to me as I was navigating some really nasty, like, attachments. I say nasty, again, it's always a blessing at the end. That ultimately, to connect to anything is always through your heart in the present moment. And a lot of the time we can feel like we've got to do this, we've got to do that, we've got to do this to healing, whereas ultimately it comes back to being present in our hearts. And that's when we connect to the pureness, and we expand from that. And we connect through frequency, through resonance, not through connecting and opening, creating chords. We oscillate. I've likened this to a water droplet. It's always still a water droplet when it's in the ocean. And that hasn't not stopped changing from being a water droplet. It's just many of them. So it's kept its integrity, but as an outside view, it looks like it's one, because it's all on the same frequency. And so this is what it's showing us, is that's how we navigate connection. So I feel like I've slightly diverted, but I'm trusting that this will land for those that are going through this. And this can be from a mum or parent just doing too much and feeling exhausted, to be given and understood the permission to rest, to shift, to know that there's this powerful stage as the wise woman to step into, and to know that there's multiple layers and dimensions of self that we need to come back as one to consolidate our energy. And it just feels like it's closing down all the white noise. And there's shitloads of white noise when you just need to pick up your phone. I've actually deleted several social media accounts because it's all just too much. Even though you're not thinking about it, you read something, you've got an energetic cord and you're connected to it. So it feels like it's a real mental farming of our energy. And we really need to start being discernment of where our energy is going. And I genuinely feel that there's a manipulation of fear to us to respond to. And through that fear and that emotion of our intelligence, of our power, we are creating what we fear. So if you can manipulate the mind, you can create through the manipulation of the mind. And so we have to really start discerning our mind, our mental energy, and the power of it. And so I feel we'll be doing that certainly up until through the winter equinox, and leading gently into the spring. For next year is actually being really discerning of our energy, how we conduct ourselves, being much more conscious, whether it's of fear or is it unconditional love, and really start to look through the layers and shadows of disconnect to remember that we are one. And equally, we are all one, even if we can see ourselves as very different, which is why race and colour and gender and all that is just distraction. That's only so we can identify and see each other. It's not about identity or who you are or makes you as anything as a person. It's purely as you can go, oh, I see that's Gemma, because I can recognise her. That's the only reason why we look different. So we can actually identify each other, but it's not our label and it's not our identity. And we need to move through this separation that's coming out. So yeah, I just wanted to share that really, and just go easy on yourselves and give yourself permission to navigate this. And the more conscious you are, and the more when you get, oh, I've been triggered, I've been activated, go in with a sense of curiosity rather than the victim energy. Oh, this has happened to me, rah, 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 getting into the story and the drama of it and go, okay, how could it be happening for me? Where's the lesson? Where's the gold? How can I claw back my energy and my power and consciousness of it all? So, it's it can be hugely empowering when you work through this consciously, and you can't do it when you're busy, because when you're busy, your subconscious just takes over, which is 98% of your thoughts and actions. So you cannot be conscious if you're busy. You have to find stillness and grace to then truly kind of observe ourselves. Okay, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? And you can only do that with time, space, and breath. Okay, so lots of love. Thank you for listening. And naturally, if you're needing more tools and gifts and toolkits to help you on this journey, then I really do invite you to come to the infinityhealthhub.com. And this is, you've got just a spectrum of articles, podcasts, meditations. And for those that say, oh, I can't meditate, it's because you're feeling that you have to have your head clear. You don't. Meditation is being mindful of your thoughts. So it's literally your observer of self. So you will have thoughts, but then if you can observe those thoughts, that's when you're really winning. It's not about not having them. It's about seeing them, reflect, having wisdom from it, but not being in the emotional of it all. And that's consciousness. Okay. So you can meditate. You will have a busy mind. And eventually you gradually just become aware and conscious of that mind so that it comes quieter. But as soon as you have judgment of yourself that you must be quiet, then you create more resistance, and then that just keeps growing. Okay, so actually you can meditate. You just need to let go of the judgment or expectation of self and just be curious of it. That's become your observer. And so meditation can really support you create those neuroplasticity of what actually you want to change, to get uproot the old BS systems and bring in your new chosen belief systems. And so yes, there's that. You've also got the Love to Heal course, and this is great for the beginning your journey of connection to self. It's called Listen, Observe, Visualize, Empower. It's all about self-love and self-acceptance and really starting to understand the greatness and the wisdom and the power that you are through your body. And then there's a course that follows that up with meditations and more self-reflection and videos that can help you sort of look deeper within. And then for the ladies, women, we have the Rose lineage and Daughters of the Golden Rose, which is really about stepping into that wise woman through the journey, looking through the generational trauma, looking through the belief systems, all that keeps us blocked from our power, very gracefully unwinds those and brings in newer, our truth, a deeper connection to our womb. And like I say, it has a very releasing, but also brings in this neuroplasticity. So it's a very graceful process, much more of a conscious healing process. There isn't the drama in it, which is so much better for our neural systems to feel safe in. So we're not going to do something if we're really uncomfortable or it's traumatic. We will just shut down from our body. So this is about bringing that grace, that safety into your body to move through all these patterns. So yeah, I think that's it. So basically, theinfinityhealthhub.com, wealth of meditations and podcasts, which will keep growing. You then got the Love to Heal, the book and the course. return of the rose lineage, daughters of the golden rose, and also you've got the return to innocence, which I talked about, which is that soul repatriation. So enjoy, be curious, and lots of love. Thank you for listening.